I have been wanting to talk about Andre Onana's goalkeeping for a long time. I think Andre Onana makes some fairly basic mistakes in goal that leads to some of his goalkeeping errors. And the thing about these mistakes is they are easily fixable. So I think a lot of these things are pretty basic and things that he can fix pretty easily to become a much more solid goalkeeper. So in this video, I'm going to break down a little bit of Andre Onana's goalkeeping technique. And by no means, I don't want to add to the hate that Andre Onana is already getting. I hope this comes across more like constructive criticism, because I really think these are fixable techniques for Andre Onana that could make him a much better player in goal. And I also want to add, I've already filmed this video once with video, but it was copyright claimed. So I am just going to be using screenshots from different matches that I think Andre Onana could have improved in. So I'm sorry for the low quality here. I did already try this with video once, but unfortunately got copyright claimed, so I couldn't upload the video. But all right, let's get into things here. So we're starting off here with the big VAR moment, an important moment at the end of the match between Everton and Man United. And this moment, this penalty shout never happens if Andre Onana gets the goalkeeping fundamentals correct. So as we look at the play progressing here, the ball is currently on the left-hand side for Everton, United's right-hand side, and Andre Onana is actually in an all right position at this moment. The only thing about Andre Onana here is you can see his feet are fairly flat. He is on his heels. I would like to see him have a little bit more active feet and be on his toes. But overall, he's not in a terrible position right now. However, because he is on his heels at this point, he doesn't react very well to the movement in the play. So as we move forward towards the position where the shot is actually about to come in, Onana is in a really terrible position. And there's two things here that are really important to consider. First is the actual position he is compared to his goal. And the problem with Andre Onana's position at the moment is he's very close to his line. If he wants to be in a better position, he should be moving forward into this space here. I'll get a little pen to show you guys here, but Onana should be moved up about 2 steps forward into this position here. This is going to allow him to do a couple of things. First, it closes down the angle a little bit, so it makes the goal a little bit smaller, even at this point in the play. And second, if Onana makes a mistake in his parry, he can parry it around the goal a lot easier. There's a lot less margin for error in making the save when you're closer to the line. So moving out in his goal allows his position to be a little bit better, to close down the angle, and help to alleviate any potential mistakes that could happen. But we don't see this at the moment. So as we now move forward to the actual shot here, we can see the shot has been made. The ball is almost halfway to the goal, and Onana is in a terrible position. I mean, he's so close to his line. He has a lot of ground to make up to make this save. But the other thing he doesn't do well is he doesn't get his base well. He has a really poor diving mechanic, which I think leads to a lot of his goalkeeping errors. Notably, Onana shifting his weight to the right-hand side so that he can make his save. But as he is shifting his weight, we can see here his right leg is in a really horrible position. He's shifting his weight to the right, but all of it is going off of his left leg. He actually doesn't shift towards his right leg, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? He's trying to shift his center of gravity to the right to be able to make this save, but his right plant leg is actually up in the air at this point. His right plant leg isn't planted to give him the power to be able to dive and make this save. So as a result, rather than making a powerful dive towards the ball, he ends up just falling. So you can see here, as he's making his dive now, he's not actually moving towards the ball much. His right leg is fully in the air at this point, and he's just falling towards the ball. And as he falls towards the ball, he's getting his hands behind the ball, but he doesn't have any power to be able to push that ball out and outside of the 6-yard box, away from danger. Instead, he falls, just gets his hand behind the ball, and the ball now is going into this area here, which ends up being in a really dangerous area, And United's defenders are not good on the half turn. So we have someone like Harry Maguire here who's ball watching, and we have the Everton attacker who actually can come in and get that. So as we move forward, this leads to a potential penalty shout. And we can see here, even if a rebound happens, Onana's in his goal. His right leg is literally behind the line. He's in such a poor position to be able to do anything. So it ends up being just poor all around. And the behind the view goal here is actually a really good shot of Onana's poor diving mechanics. We can see here he's fully diving to his right hand side, but his right plant leg is not on the ground. It is fully in the air. He's purely diving off of his left hand side, so there's no power in this dive. So as he moves and gets his hands behind the ball, he's not in a position to be able to parry it away this way, parry it out of danger. He has no force in his dive. Instead, he's just falling and getting his hands behind the ball. He's stopping the ball from going into the goal, but he's not controlling where the ball goes afterwards. So that's a first example of one, Onana's just, I think, poor positioning and poor diving mechanics. But Everton's first goal in this match is another example that I think Onana does poorly in, and I think he should be making this save. I think this was a very savable effort for Onana. So as we see the play develop here, we can see, once again, United's defenders are really poor on the half turn, or on the turn. But as we can see here, this is when the danger starts to begin, right? We're about to see a header move in. And as we see the header move in, this is the point where Onana should recognize that there's some sort of danger. But we can see he's still rooted to his line. And as the ball moves forward, this is the point here, right? Beto is on the half turn. He's going to have the opportunity. Onana should start be looking at moving this way at this point. He should start to be looking at closing his angle. But instead, he's right on his line. So as we see here, he moves forward maybe one step, but we should see him moving here. We should see him recognizing the danger earlier, right? He should be recognizing the danger at this point here. But instead, he recognizes that danger way too late, and he's still rooted to his line. If he is forward up towards his 6-yard box here, right, in this area, he has closed down that shot significantly, and there's a good chance the ball just hits him. And the reason there's a good chance the ball just hits him is as we take the shot here again, look at the distance between Onana and the shot. He should again be up at the 6-yard box here. But instead the shot goes in, the shot goes straight. The shot is right at him. If he is here and the ball bounces, if he's up at the 6-yard box here or anywhere close to it, the ball bounces and hits him in the chest and it loops over him and into the goal. This was a very savable moment if Onana adjusts his positioning and reacts to the imminent danger much more quickly. But instead, it ends up being kind of a scuffed goal for Beto here. And the final example I'm going to go through here, because I don't want to rag on Onana too much, is the goal that Spurs scores and United's 1-0 defeat to Spurs. So this is another example of Onana being in the right position, but not moving far enough off his line, and then making a really poor dive. So as we can see here, Son Heung-min plays it forward, it goes to Bergvall, and this is the point where he's taking the shot. And once again, Onana, he should be a couple steps forward, right? He should be here. But instead, he's essentially rooted to his line. So when the shot comes in, he's in a bad position. And again, it doesn't give him much margin of error for making a save. And then once again, the shot comes off. Look at the left plant leg here. He's shifting his body weight to the left, but that left plant leg is in the air. All Onana is doing is falling. He's not actually making a true dive. He's just falling to his left-hand side. And this means that he's not in an athletic enough position to be able to push this ball out and away from danger. Instead, he gets his hands behind the ball and it meekly goes towards the 6-yard box. And as it does this, James Maddison is going to come in and have a tap in. Onana needs to be athletic enough and getting enough push from his left leg to be able to push this ball out. I mean, if he's away from his line, he can push it out around the post, or at the very least out this way and further away from danger. But it's going right back into the danger zone for James Madison to have an easy tap in. And as we look here, again, looking at the behind view, Bergvall has taken a shot. The shot's going towards goal. And there is pure daylight between Andre Onana's left plant leg, which he's shifting towards that side. He's lifting it into the air. He is not getting any power into this dive. It's very literally, he's just falling. He's just falling and getting his hands behind the ball, but there's no power. So he's not able to parry that out, and it ends up being an easy tap in. So these are my main issues currently with Andre Onana's goalkeeping. One, he positions himself much too close to the line. He should be taking 2 steps out because it gives him a bigger margin of error for his parries, but it also allows him to close down the angle a little bit more. And he has really poor diving mechanics, especially when he's shifting to a certain side. He doesn't shift his weight towards the leg that side is on to create more power for the dive. He just kind of falls. And those are the 2 big issues in his fundamentals right now. Now, the interesting thing with all of that is, oddly enough, Onana has shown signs of improvement. So I don't want to completely rag on Onana here. He's actually shown some signs of improvement with his goalkeeping technique. He hasn't fixed his base at all. He hasn't fixed that weight shift, but he has gotten better with what he's doing with his poor fundamentals. So this is an example of how it was worse a few years ago. So this is with his time at Inter, and we can see similar position right here. We're taking a shot. The shot goes in, and we can see here, again, poor fundamentals, poor base as it goes forward. The difference is, we can see here, still poor fundamentals. He should be shifting to that side, but he's very literally moving his legs out of the way when he does this. But you can see here, both legs are off the floor. Andre Onana actually used to jump up when making saves, and it meant that the balls would squeeze under him. And this was a pretty recurring problem. That was at Inter. Here's another example at United against Bayern. So the shot comes in here. We can see this should be an easy save. And once again, poor fundamentals. That left leg is right up in the air from where he's going. But again, Andre Onana has jumped up. He's not falling, he's jumping up, and this means that the ball squirms under him and in. So he has fixed one problem. He doesn't jump up anymore and allow the ball to go under him. Now he falls. The problem is, him falling now leads to a new problem, because now that he's falling, he is making the save and getting his hands behind the ball, but now we've progressed to him not being able to parry it out. He's making the save, but it's going back into a dangerous area for tap-ins for opposing players. But again, among all this, Onana has made some level of improvement. And when he gets everything right, Onana's actually a very good goalkeeper. But it's about getting the fundamentals right. So this is an example. He makes a fantastic save here against Liam Delap in the first United Ipswich edition of this season. So we can see here, as the play is developing, once again, we have Andre Onana on the side of the goal here. But look, he's in a much more athletic position, right? He's sunk his hips down a little bit more. He's got his knees bent. He's on his toes. This is a much more athletic position to be in. So that way, once we get to the danger here, Onana has shifted his weight, and he's so much better able to react. He's not standing straight upright. His footwork is so much better. So at this point, he's recognizing the danger, and in a poorer Andre Onana moment, all he's doing is sliding across the goal this way. But instead, we see he takes steps forward. The danger is there. Look at him running forward, shifting his weight, moving forward in a much more athletic way. This allows him to close down the angle very significantly. Look at how much further off his line he is. Now, should Liam Delap score here? Absolutely. But Onana closes the angle just enough so that he's able to go forward and make that save. And that's a huge contrast to what he did against Beto, where he didn't make that forward step. Throughout this play here, Andre Onana is on his toes. He's in athletic position. He closes down the angle. He makes himself big. Now, this is with his positioning. Obviously, we're not seeing him fix the diving mechanics here, but this just goes to show there is a goalkeeper in there. Onana's just got to use the fundamentals to bring it out. Now, I also want to show here what happens when all of this is correct, right? When the basic fundamentals of goalkeeping are done correctly. And I want to compare Andre Onana here to Tim Howard. And the reason I want to do that is because Tim Howard, right? Andre Onana could follow a similar career path as Tim Howard, a player who struggled a little bit at Manchester United, but was able to resurrect their goalkeeping career by being really good at these fundamentals. And I think Andre Onana could do that. Now, let's take a look here. Tim Howard at Everton. This is a save from the edge of the box, and there's a few things I want to highlight here. First, look at how much further off his line Tim Howard is compared to where Andre Onana is. Andre Onana is generally on his line here. Howard is a good 2 or 3 steps forward. That allows him to close down the angle much more than Onana does. And as this goes off, this becomes really important because he makes a fingertip save here. But because he's so far out, right? If he's in the back, that fingertip save goes straight in the goal. But he's so far out, he makes that fingertip save, and it actually ends up cannoning across the crossbar. Now, let's talk about the fundamentals here. This is actually the moment the shot is taken. Howard is here behind Kieran Richardson, but let's move forward and look at the fundamentals of the save. Howard is shifting his weight to the right, and we can see here excellent goalkeeping mechanics. He's shifting his weight to his right and actually moving onto the right leg. And this allows him to create so much more power in the dive that Onana doesn't get. Onana is falling, but Tim Howard here is making a powerful dive. So by shifting his weight to his right foot, he's able to make that fingertip save, and it goes off the crossbar. This is fantastic goalkeeping from Tim Howard. I really wish this hadn't originally been copyright claimed, because this is a brilliant save. It's worth seeing live. All right, and the final thing I want to do here is highlight Matt Sells, because I think Matt Sells has the goalkeeping fundamentals down super well, and he's been a big reason for how well Nottingham Forest has done this season. And I want to highlight a save he made against Fulham. So you guys can't really see this because this is a super blurry screenshot, but this is the ball here. Fulham is going in for a header, and we can see Matt Sells in a very athletic position, right? He's got his hips sunk down, he's on his toes, he's got the knees bent, and as he shifts his weight to the right, we can see he actually shifts his weight onto the right foot. He makes a really athletic stop. I mean, look at how much more power and strength he has in that dive compared to what Onana does. He's able to make that save and push it around the post. We can also see it from the back here. So again, we have the header. As we move forward, we can see, look at this phenomenal goalkeeping fundamentals, all of that weight going onto the right foot rather than the left. He has shifted his center of gravity over that right foot, allowing him to get more power, and that power is enough to allow him to make an absolutely phenomenal save. This is great goalkeeping from Matt Sells. All right, and that is pretty much everything I got. Just in summary, I think, there is a goalkeeper in Onana, but he needs to get the fundamentals right. And the two fundamentals that are particularly problematic right now for Onana is his goalkeeping positioning being far too close to the line and not correctly shifting his weight to the right leg to make a powerful dive. Instead, he's falling, he's getting his hands behind the ball, but he's just falling. So he doesn't have enough power to actually be able to parry the ball out of danger. Instead, he's consistently falling, putting the ball back into danger, and putting players on Man United who are already poor on the half turn, putting them under more pressure than they have to be. If Onana can clean up some of that base, some of that footwork, he's going to become a much more solid goalkeeper, and it's going to help United out a lot. But all right, that's everything that I've got. That's kind of my thoughts on Andre Onana's goalkeeping. I hope you guys found this enjoyable and maybe informative. The next video, I promise, we will be back to FM content. So I will see you all then. Bye.